In this video, we're going to be talking about parts of the eye. So we're going to go over these definitions in a video so that when we're in class, we can just do a couple of experiments connected to the eye, since vision is one of these senses. So this is the eye. You only need to know the parts that I actually discuss. We're going to be focusing on the back of the eye here. And this back of the eye is called the retina. So the retina is the light-sensitive inner surface of the eye. It is what has the photoreceptors. It contains the photoreceptors. The photoreceptors are the R's and the C's here. So I'm going to color code this to make it easier. The R stands for rods. Rods are the retinal receptors, those photoreceptors, that detect black, white, and gray. They also are going to be important for peripheral and for twilight vision. They are good in lower levels of light. So if it's dusk or dawn, it's easier to see black, white, and gray. It's harder to see colors. And that's because what is in charge of color vision are these C's. Those are called the cones. So cones do color. These are the retinal receptors that are concentrated near the center of the retina. If you notice, I have these more towards the middle. There's more color receptors towards the middle of your eye. So it's harder to see color on the periphery because that's where more rods are found. So these are in the center, and they detect fine details and have color sensations. They give rise to color sensations. So any colors you see are because of those cones. Just a couple more parts you need to know. This green thing here, this is the optic nerve. The optic nerve is what sends information from the retina to the occipital lobe in your brain. So this is the nerve that carries neural impulses from the eye to the brain. And again, that'll be the occipital lobe, since that is where you have your vision. And where the optic nerve hits the retina, there can't be any photoreceptors there because the optic nerve is there. So you're essentially blind in that spot. So this purple thing here, that is your blind spot. And we'll do an experiment in class connected to that blind spot. This is the point at which the optic nerve leaves the eye. You're blind because there's no photoreceptors there. So those are the parts of the eye that you need to know. A couple extra things I'm going to just add in here. So I will stick these in a different part of your screen. You need to know what feature detectors are. And we'll also do an experiment connected to this. These are nerve cells in the brain that respond to specific features of a stimulus. Like edges, lines, angles, that sort of a thing. You also should know parallel processing. Parallel processing is the processing of many aspects of a problem or scene at the same time, like movement, depth, color. This is how your brain processes a lot of information at once, and so it really helps you put everything together so that it looks more fluid. This will also potentially talk about this in the memory chapter, this parallel processing. More than one thing can be going on in your brain at a time, and this includes with your vision. Finally, last two definitions that we'll also discuss in class, but I want the definitions in your notes, are color vision theories. And there are two that you should be able to recognize. One is the Young-Helmholtz model. This is also called the trichromatic theory. And this one says that the retina contains 3 different color receptors. And those three are red, green, and finally blue. And it's the combination of these that is going to give you color vision, the perception of color. This also helps to partially explain color blindness, because most of the time it's these two colors that are screwed up. And so if you don't have the receptors that cover these, it's hard to distinguish red from green. The other perspective is the opponent process theory. The opponent process theory says that opposing retinal processes enable color vision. So it is opposing pairs of cones. Every time you have a red cone, you also have a green cone. And every time you have a yellow cone, you also have a blue. And then finally, black rods and white rods go together. So if red is triggering, green can't be triggering. If yellow is working, blue is not going to be. If black is going, white is not going to. And we will do an experiment in class connected to those as well. So two color vision theories. The parts of the eye, you can kind of see feature detectors as part of that, but it's not a specific location you need to know. And then parallel processing, your brain kind of puts it all together. And those are the definitions to have in your notes connected to vision.